Now, another kind of concept that is pretty interesting for you to, if you so find it appropriate, is what I call the POC. So the POC essentially comes under the umbrella or under the category of volume profile analysis. And you will notice that whenever we have this this range, so this period where the market kind of like goes into a compression, and then we break this kind of compression, and we break and close above a significant level of resistance, as this was the case, then try to identify where is it the POC. So essentially the POC is going to refer to the area in the chart with the most traded, in this case in currencies, the most traded tick volume activity, okay? Because we don't have real volume. So it's just tick volume activity. So to me personally, this is by far the most relevant area that you want to monitor if you're going to be using volume profile to help you define, you know, either the placement of your stops if you are playing a breakthrough and then you want to place your stops, so place it behind the POC, or, you know, it helps you also to define the area of the chart where you might find the most pristine entry level. And here's my point. If you saw a break on the Canadian dollar, a retest of the POC more often than not is going to lead to an avalanche of demand. It's not always the case, because you're going to have fundamental news that may actually influence the price. But more often than not, you will see that this is a level, an area, I should say, that acts as a wall on a retest, okay? And that's what we are seeing here. So traders tend to factor this as an area of support or resistance. And so if I were to draw this area, we did break above this kind of compression or this range, and then the moment that gets retested, then it is being bought up again. We can actually go through a few more examples. So on the daily edge, I always try to give you guys a heads up on what's my perspective about currencies in terms of overall strength. And we saw the same here with the Swiss franc. And I'm talking here in July. But you have this area of compression, then you can draw a volume profile, and the POC comes around that level. So just draw a rectangle, and the moment that gets retested, it gets to face what I say, an obstacle, a wall, whatever you want to call it. But then you see the rejection right there, right? So in terms of risk reward, is a very attractive area of for price to be repelled and looking to reverse the trade. We can look at the JPY. So the JPY had this level of range, and then we broke higher. It retested, and then it got rejected. And here the confluence of the baseline made it even stronger, right? The case for the JPY to continue to strengthen. Now here's a very interesting development, technically speaking. We now broken the POC, and notice all the acceptance of this bar. So actually there's no appetite whatsoever so far to be buying the Japanese yen. And if you were to ask me, is this the most kind of like, is this the most negative the JPY has been ever since, let's just say, mid or late July? I would say yes, it is, just because finally the POC has given up. And on top of that, the baseline has been lost. So I would say that it is all the positive news that we are seeing, which basically eradicates or eliminates the tail risk that we were having like short term. It's very congruent with the behavior of the Japanese yen, meaning the Japanese yen is selling in line with all this positive news that we are seeing. Okay, so my outlook now for the Japanese yen is definitely a little bit more. You know, is a little bit. I think it's going to be performing a little bit more sluggish going forward. Now, notice here on the US dollar index, we had this level where we had a little bit of compression. We broke higher, and then we retested. So again, you can find the POC, and if you extend the POC, so essentially it would have been right there. It got tested and rejected once again. Okay. Now let's just pretend that we extend all this area. So essentially, this is what's going to be our area of concentration of volume. So we broke higher, and notice where the US dollar is trading now into. It's a whole level of POC, which if you actually, technically speaking, you were to align with a chart, with a line, happens to be that swing high as well. So all these technical aspects you have to discount and price them into your decisions. So that's what I'm intending to do when analyzing these indexes. Okay, give you that technical picture as well. Okay, so that's where we stand in terms of the current